We have to start with a Merseyside derby. Everton, top of the league. But I think in some ways that 2-2 draw overshadowed by the horrible news of the injury to Virgil van Dijk. We've got Don Hutchison joining us. Don, it's an ACL injury. I think best case scenario, he's not going to be back maybe until the Euros. And I think that's the very, very best case scenario. So we'll get to the dynamic of the injury in a minute. I just want to ask you, in the immediate, you've got Gomez, you've got Matip, you've got Fabinho who can drop into the back line. He's going to go with that and then maybe make a move in January for somebody, correct?
I think so, Gab. I think that's the way to go. I think for Jurgen Klopp, I think Joe Gomez is still trying to find his feet and trying to find his self-confidence. So I would imagine, I think it'll be Fabinho that will drop into that back line. He's got an abundance of midfield players to choose from. But now they've got to come together and really stick together as a group.
I think in January, when you make that decision, inevitably they'll be linked with big names, big expenses, Upamecano, Koulibaly, whatever. I wouldn't be surprised personally if they go for a cheaper short-term option, because there's a window of opportunity to win with this team. And clearly in the signing of Thiago as well, you saw that they're thinking, let's cash in now, let's go short-term now, double down and try to win silverware now. Jules, let's talk about the dynamic of the incident. It was a ball over the top. Van Dijk goes for it. He was offsides, as we would later find out, via VAR. There's a collision with Jordan Pickford. Now, the referee, who was Michael Oliver, very experienced referee, top referee here in England, obviously he couldn't award the penalty because the VAR, David Coote, decided that the Van Dijk was offside. Yeah. It was a correct decision, although a close decision. But then he decides, then there is no sending off for Pickford. Certainly that feels wrong.
I think it's as disgraceful almost as the tackle in itself, because I was in Liverpool, everybody could see the tackle, everybody could see the gravity of the tackle and how serious it was. I think Jordan Pickford should be banned for as long as Virgil van Dijk is out. Don't give me but that was not intentional, he didn't do it on purpose. He goes in and with his two legs catches the knee and the leg of Virgil van Dijk. What is that? Who does that?
So, Jules, that's not going to happen, Jules, because that's not.
I don't care.
That's not in the rules.
Yeah, I know, but that's the way it should be, because who knows? Do you know if Virgil van Dijk will ever come back at the level that he was before?
We don't know, but on that situation, that rule is not in the laws of the game. So
it should have been a red card anyway, straight away. And Michael Oliver should have gone by himself to see on the screen, even if David Coote and the VAR didn't say to him, you should go and have a look yourself.
Well, Don, before we get to that, you've been through that. You played the game. Was it as horrific as it looks to us who never played professionally?
100%, guys. Honestly, back in my day, you had to go over the top and you had to go high because that was the nature of the beast back then. When you're going into tackles with Patrick Vieira and Manu Petit and Brian Robson and Paul Ince, you had to go high because you knew they were going to go high as well. So you had to try and look after yourself. Thank God the rules and the laws have been changed since I've played, but I've not seen a worse tackle, I don't think, in a decade than Jordan Pickford's tackle.
It's reminiscent of the Roy Keane on Alfie.
It's even worse because the way he catches him, it's even worse.
So I just want to get into the mechanics of what happened, and I hate to pick on referees, but as I see, and you guys can jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael Oliver sees a collision. Maybe he made a mistake. Maybe he didn't realize how serious it was. Now, at this point, and the reason I go through this is Liverpool have asked for an explanation here. We need to find out what Coote and Liverpool and Oliver said to each other, right? Yeah. Because Coote sees it. His first job is to establish whether it's a penalty, so he established the offside, fine. But then he's obviously seen the penalty. Now, I'm guessing in his mind, he says, well, Oliver didn't give it, and I think it's a yellow, and because I think it's a yellow, I can't intervene as a VAR, right? Now, obviously, Coote would be wrong because that is a red. But still, there has to be dialogue, and there is dialogue, and it's laid out so there is dialogue between the VAR and the referee.
You could see Oliver waiting.
At that point, you expect Coote to say to Oliver, Michael, this looks pretty bad. I think it might just be a yellow, but you might want to take a look at this, right?
100%.
Should be. Did you get a clear view of it, Michael? Right? Because Oliver knows, he's experienced. He maybe didn't get a clear view of it. This is where the breakdown is, right, Don?
Yeah, it is. I mean, everyone seems to think that the offside takes precedent, and that because that's the first phase of the three, everyone sort of assumes that. Well,
no, everyone's stupid because everyone who's followed the football for the last 24 months knows that simply because the offside takes precedence over the penalty.
That's all.
It doesn't mean that because you're offside. Oh, look, he was offside. Okay, I can go and kick him in the nuts. You can't do that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everyone, and I think the referees maybe included, got sucked into the situation where there was three protocols to look at, and they've immediately gone back to phase one, where Virgil van Dijk might have been offside. I mean, I've looked at it 1,000 times, and I think Calvert-Lewin's actually playing him on. So they've gone back to phase one. But you guys are right. Even if someone's offside, I can't then walk up to Julien and punch him in the face and not get any sanction. You have to look at the phases.
That's so true.
You have to look at the phases and then the tackle in itself. If Fabinho makes that tackle, if Neymar makes that tackle, if John Joe Shelby makes that tackle in the middle of the park, you are looking at a 4, 5, 6 game ban. Yeah. It was horrendous.
There's no question about it. Like, I'm not going to go and talk about malice or whatever. Some people I think have done that. I don't know. I don't know Jordan Pickford. I don't believe he's that sort of player, as the saying goes. But I think what we need here, absolutely 100%, is clarity and transparency. I would love for the PGMOL to go out and explain everything that happened, everything that went on between Oliver and Koo. If Oliver made a mistake, I can deal with that.
Which he has. He has.
Okay. If Koo made a mistake, I can deal with it too, but then there also has to be consequences for it. Don, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.